Clair Obscur. What an amazing game we have just witnessed. I have never been a fan of turn-based adventures. I am going to disappoint a lot of people with what I'm about to say, but I have to say it, just so you know how much my cheeks clapped in pain and also innovation for this game. The thing is, I have played both Final Fantasy, I don't remember which. God, there are so many at this point it sounds like a joke calling it Final. They should rename them 13th, 14th and 15th Fantasy or something like that. And also Persona 5. These two are huge titles of the turn-based world, and I didn't like them. Or maybe I wasn't in the right mood. I had to say this so you can see how good Expedition 33 is. Brothers, I cannot stop playing it. This game calls me like a cigarette calls a smoker after a first sip of a cold beer in a hot summer day. Before continuing, there will be spoilers. The story is a huge plus in this game, so I have to talk about it, and after that, I will say why you have to play it in Expert. I'll leave some timestamps in case you want to skip the plot talk. It's fantastic. The concept of being erased from the earth by an unknown god sounds so ominous. You see these people grieving for their loved ones that they are about to lose without a single way to fight back. Tens of expeditions of brave soldiers have left only to never return. So much so, they've organized a festival to say farewell to those who disappear in a ritual called the Gommage. It shows that the most they can do is dedicate a day to the poor souls who know the date of their departure. It makes us feel powerless. The Paintress, the biggest female fatale in France, with an unprecedented kill count, each year erasing hundreds of people for no apparent reason. Only thing is, none of that is true. I won't spend too much time with the plot because it is wild, but I do want to mention a couple of things that I enjoyed the most about this game, besides the twists of the plot twists. This is Verso, by the way. Neat, right? He's the one who extracted Mael from the disastrous disembark. Anyway, what I like the most is that this game is not afraid of going into places that other games shy away from. Right now, I can think of two. Gustav putting a gun to his head after seeing all his comrades being wiped out in a few minutes is the most comprehensible reaction I can never think of in a situation like this. Very often, the protagonist is designed to be a hero who isn't afraid of anything, and has a crash out or two in the whole plot for that sweet downfall moment, which serves as character development, or simply to justify starting from scratch after a few deliveries regarding stats and weapons. God of War. Gustav shows that he is human. Yes, he can use Pictos to help him enhance his power to fight the Nevrons, but nothing can beat the hopelessness you might feel after seeing a whole army of people who have trained their entire lives for that moment being wiped out before you can say pneumo ultramicroscopic silico volcano coniosis. What? They weren't killed that fast. Some of them fought back. This makes Gustav feel relatable. Isn't it what 99% of us would do in this case? And the other moment is Gustav's death. They pretty much pulled off a Ned Stark type of protagonist death. Eventually, he wasn't really the protagonist of anything, but that's what the game made us think. At any rate, this sends a message to the player. There is no plot armor here, anyone can die, which makes us feel even more scared in this undiscovered and mysterious land. How many developers dare to do this nowadays? I freaking love it. Don't get me wrong, it was sad as fuck. I teared up. The voice acting and the character's expressiveness really help to convey the emotions they are feeling and the frustration of the moment. Getting to fight Renoir in Gustav's last stand and seeing how we barely scratched his expensive, drippy suit is a frustrating way to watch our main character die, but in a good way. Speaking of Renoir, he is an amazing character. It's been a while since the last time I was rooting for the villain, quote-unquote, to win. On a side note, the gestrolls, no idea how to pronounce that. They are incredibly funny. Have a look at some of these dialogues. They are the perfect balance to the serious tone of the whole situation. A sort of comical escapade that is hugely appreciated by the players who are heavily invested in this adventure. You just knew that in that village, no one was a threat. My favorite moments of the story were when we saw those characters arguing and bonding. It felt so organic and so real. It's crazy how some of these arguments, for instance, when Lune and Gustav were shouting at each other because of that 33 mark on that rock. It's crazy how they weren't even in the same studio when these lines were recorded. The actors hadn't even seen each other at that moment, and yet, It felt like they were there, having a real argument face to face. The bonding part was also awesome. It was not cheesy or corny. I really saw myself smiling and laughing when the whole party started drinking wine that came from Eskiel's intestines. I felt very sad seeing Mile burying Gustav and leaving his arm on top of his grave. I felt fear for them whenever Renoir appeared, and something close to a betrayal when it was revealed that Renoir is Verso's father. And he hadn't told us about that. It's a roller coaster of emotions, and that is why I wanted to mention the story. It has complexity, it's intricate, and the moral conflicts are well executed, something we've seen plenty of times in the Soul series. The silly funny gameplay moments are there too. I won't mention many of them, but how many of you saw the little merchant for the first time and were like, haha, I'm going to pulverize this little dude, only for him to enter with... Truly are we cooked, chat? Moment. Here's where I get to show how much of a hardcore Souls gamer I am. Yes! Because, you know guys, I beat hard games for a living, you know that, right? Nah, in all seriousness, I finished the game in expert mode, and it was tough, mostly the boss fights. Even though I've played this game for 40 hours or 50, there were a few zones that I didn't teleport to, so I am not entirely sure if expert mode is that tough, or the constant one-shot deaths came from my characters being underleveled. Who cares, I had the time of my life playing it. The gameplay obviously rewards intelligent builds, not much from your stats, but more from the synergy that you create between the skills of a character and also how to combine the skills from different characters. And also adapting to every scenario. You literally can't get cozy with one build and breeze through the game with the same set of skills in Pictos. For instance, just FYI, a unit of shield absorbs a hit, no matter how damaging it is. Whether it's a basic attack or a single hit skill that requires 9 AP, they will do the same thing. Mael has a skill that completely removes any amount of shields an enemy has. It was completely useless in the Gastral village because the enemies there didn't use shields, but in the shore level, those Sir Alone wannabes played with shields all the time, so it was a smart move to have that skill equipped. Also later, she acquires a sword that becomes very useful against the Clair enemies because they apply shields to their allies. Anytime I destroyed shields, Mael started cosplaying Let Me Tank Him because of the sheer amount of shields she had. So sometimes I could solo a trio of enemies with Mael alone because she was freaking invincible with 9 units of shields. I just had to leave that enemy alive so it kept buffing their allies with shields so I could continue stealing them with free aim shots. With Verso, I liked using the Duelist Sword because it gives me 2 turns, one for a basic attack and another one for using a skill. On top of that, add double hits to the basic attack and bam, S rank in no time. Unless I'm feeling like failing every dodge possible. It's very strategic, and each character is very freaking original and complex, especially Lune. And I'm not only talking about gameplay, if you know what I mean. Some of the boss fights require you to lock the fuck in because of the amount of bullshits they throw at you. Pontiff Sullivan had 8 hit strings, and at that moment he one-shot my characters with a lot of attacks, so I had to learn the timings and the delays. Some of the delays are disgraceful, like the boss raises his hand and the attack takes longer to fall than a young adult can become fully independent from his parents nowadays. Some others are so quick, like the fire cannon from the... let me see if I get it right. Saca Patate boss, that it feels like your first run with that boss is doomed from the start. But I couldn't care less about that. Coming from the Soul series, this is a walk in the park. Maybe the Lampmaster boss fight is a bit of bullshit, and that's subjective. I couldn't read the telegraphing of its attacks very well. Like, there is a shroud of shadow around it that didn't let me see when the hits were landing, and I felt a bit frustrated because of that. Let me know in the comments if that only happened to me. I loved the rest though, like, I like the little nuances that can make a fight much more manageable if you pay attention to detail. In the Jastral's village, you can break their machinery's limbs with free aim shots. The Lampmaster requires you to shoot the lamps in the specific order they light up, to prevent it from using an ultimate attack. The Masked Axon rewards you with an easier fight if you took your time to destroy the anger, sadness and joy masks. You can also make a character invulnerable to charm if you fight the Tissot, which is optional. That can save your life if the Siren manages to hit someone who is protected from charm. Another reason why you should play it on Expert is that any encounter takes longer to finish, which means more time to listen to the soundtrack. This game came out a little over 1 month ago and the music is already considered a certified gamer classic. I am going to call it right here, right now. Game of the year is arguable. 2025 is looking at me like, it's either gaming or keeping the house, friend. You can choose both. The Oblivion remake, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Doom, Night Rain. I'm so happy for everything we're getting. I wouldn't even complain about the news of a The Last of Us Part 1 remade, remastered, reinvented once more edition with a Pedro Pascal skin that supposedly justifies a full price tag. While Game of the Year is arguable, if this game doesn't receive Soundtrack of the Year, I'm saying it now. That shit is rigged. I don't care what comes later, I really don't. When a game releases a track so good and instead of giving it to the final boss, they give it to a silly merchant fight that you don't even have to do, you know they love what they're doing. Listen to this. Guys, you already messed up Soundtrack of the Year for 2015, awarding it to Metal Gear 5 instead of Bloodborne. Don't repeat the same mistake twice. Learn from history. Like, imagine playing on easy and finishing the fight so fast you miss the guitar entirely. I would never. Another aspect that benefits from the hardest difficulty is the sensation of being lost in an island that wants you dead. Whenever I saw enemies that looked menacing, I was like, crap, this dude is going to mop the floor with my face. Whenever I came close to a wide open area that was only missing the fog wall to tell me I am a boss fight arena, I sighed out of desperation. Whenever the screen did this, you knew something serious was going down and your death counter was about to spike. I think this is one of those games that is hard at the beginning but totally manageable halfway through and onwards, because there are many things you have to learn to become a good player. It's not only about dealing high damage and learning the timings. The sound cues, for example, are features that you start paying attention to later on, but learning them will reward you with much more consistent parries and dodges. Summarizing, you shouldn't get discouraged if you die a lot at the beginning. The game doesn't punish you at all for dying. You don't get sent back to your last checkpoint, and nothing is lost upon death like in Souls games. There are always checkpoints right before a boss fight, and if you die in a normal encounter very far from the last checkpoint, you'll respawn right before the encounter. If you decide to rest at the beginning of the level, every encounter is easily skippable. Look at this clip. I went there, grabbed this enemy's guarded treasure in front of him, and I didn't even have to initiate a fight. The only thing you lose upon death is patience. Nothing else. And as I've always said, seeing how much of a good player you become feels very satisfying. When you enter the monolith and have to refight the enemies you saw at the beginning of the game, I could see how much information I had retained of their timings, attacks, and weaknesses. It's awesome. Those are some of the best Souls tropes inserted in here. With time, noticing how good you've become. Bosses turned into normal enemies. Bosses with infinite aura display. An endless map to explore. Goated soundtrack. And a good story to be told with some intricate combat against intimidating enemies that will kill you over and over until you get good. I had to say it. I mean, an essay related to Souls gaming without our glorious get good tease? Not on my channel. The only few things I would like them to fix or implement with patches are 1. To be able to drop a marker in the map when you're free roaming around the islands. The map isn't that huge, but it would be nice if I didn't have to open the map all the time to check if I am going in the right direction. Secondly, put the QTEs in a different spot on the screen. With Verso, there is a skill that has a QTE that I used to fail when I started using it because it pops up right in the middle of all the cluttered anime effects during his hits. In this case, the whole point of using this skill is to push him from rank A to S, but if you fail one of the QTEs, you go back to A, so it's almost a wasted turn. All in all, this is an incredible game, no doubt about it. It's not for everyone. The turn-based aspect can turn many people down, and that's normal, to each their own. Regarding the people saying the game sucks, don't read them. They have to resort to petty stuff like saying the running sucks, oh wow bro, the game is completely ruined for me, 0 out of 10, the running is weird, or to lying like saying that the voice acting is bad when it clearly isn't. The Gamer webpage says, please, don't let Clair Obscur Expedition 33's ridiculous titles stop you from playing this incredible game. Even though they called it incredible, they had to find some dumb crap to criticize about it so they could get some engagement. Expedition 33 isn't a great title either, and it's easily confused with other games. 33 Mortals, anyone? What the hell are you talking about, my man? In the first 20 or so minutes of the game, you understand why it's titled like that. You guys get the idea. Obviously, it's not a perfect game, and it's not for everyone, but don't listen to that bunch. There's always people trying to disagree just to stand out because it's cool to go against the wave, right? Be seeing you, comrades. Bye.